Group 1, so we're going to find out right now in your life, what are you doing right and what are you doing wrong? Now, this isn't a place for judgment or anything like that. It's just to help you get a good idea of, you know, what are your areas for growth right now and where can you give yourself some credit, you know? I asked this question for myself, just in my own like personal reading, and it was so helpful. Like, it was so helpful, and I got such a clear message from Spirit, and it was exactly what I needed to hear. And I thought, why not do this for the channel? So I don't know, it was helpful for me, so I'm hoping it will be helpful for you as well. So we're gonna start off with the good news. What are you doing right? Group 1, please, Spirit, and a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. This is going to be a shorter reading because I want the messages to be really clear. Okay, Group 1, what are you doing right? And we'll do all uprights for this one. What are you doing right? Group 1. Ooh, we've got the 4 of Cups here. What are you doing right? We've got Judgment. We'll get one more card. Ooh, and we have the 10 of Cups. Okay, Group 1, I am loving this for you because this is telling me that you know exactly what you deserve. You have high standards, you have high expectations because you know that you deserve the best. You deserve what authentically resonates for you. You deserve what is right and true for you and not what someone else tells you that you should settle for. You're not settling for breadcrumbs. You're not settling for someone else's vision or someone else's wish or dream or desire for you. You are sitting back, just patiently waiting for the right thing to come your way, and you know that you deserve the best. I mean, you're really in a queen or a king, empress, emperor kind of energy here. You know, you're not settling for the 4 of Cups when you know that you deserve the 10 of Cups. And Judgment can talk about karma. I mean, you know, and also I think as well a focus on your own soul's calling. Like, you're just listening to your heart. If something's not resonating with your soul, your truth, your vision or your dream for what your life should be, you're not settling for it because other people tell you, well, you know, you can't do any better. You're like, no, I deserve the best. And it's not about what's just good enough. You know, like, I wasn't put on this planet. I'm not living this life just to settle for good enough. And it's not selfish. It's not greedy to want more for myself or to expect more for myself because I deserve more. You know, I mean, you're a good person, you know? So yeah, I love this for you. So keep your standards high, you know, keep listening to your heart, keep on not settling because And that's a really great attitude to have. So you're in the right mindset. You have the right perspective. Okay, so what are you doing wrong? We can say that in a nicer way, group one. What do you need to work on? What's your area of growth here? And this is, you know, from the perspective of your guides. You know, like what would they like to see you do differently here? Group one. And no one's perfect, you know, like this isn't saying you haven't done any healing or you haven't done any work on yourself. Growth is a lifelong process, right? All right, group one here. What can you work on? For this, we will take reversals if they come through. So we've got the Two of Wands in reverse. We've got the Six of Pentacles. And the Two of Swords. Okay. Your bottom of the deck here is the Nine of Swords. So, anxiety, fear, it's getting the best of you. You're hesitating a lot. You're overthinking. You're having maybe some obsessive thoughts. There's just some fixations here. You know, with the Two of Wands, it's like I want to plan for the future. I want to make certain moves towards what I want, but I'm being really indecisive. And there's a feeling here of being disconnected from your intuition, being disconnected from your faith, second guessing yourself, not trusting yourself. And because you're connected to source energy, like everything's connected, when you aren't able to trust yourself, you're not trusting in the divine either. So it's like when you have all these self-doubts and anxieties and obsessive thoughts and intrusive thoughts, all of that like combined, therefore makes it harder, I feel like, for the divine to reach you, makes it harder for you to stand strong in your faith. And it's not, you know, don't take that as like your guide saying, again, it's not from a place of judgment, like you need to have more faith, but more so like we understand almost like all of that mental clutter that you're experiencing is creating this static, like this white noise, where it's harder for spirit to reach you. Like it's harder for the synchronicities, the signs, you know, it's harder for you to make sense of your dreams, you know. It's harder for you to get those downloads, those messages that are meant to reassure you. And so I feel like the advice here is really to, as best as you can, try to cope and manage, you know, this anxiety, this insomnia in the best way that you can. Try to calm yourself down, you know, whatever sort of brings you back home to yourself, whatever reconnects you, I think, as well with your physical body would be very helpful, because really you need to calm and quiet your mind long enough for the divine to be able to give you that reassurance that you've been asking for. Because I feel like it's almost like you wish you had someone to hold your hand through this process, and the divine wants to do that for you. They want you to feel supported. They don't want you to feel like it has to be this huge, scary leap of faith, right, to make the decisions that you need to make or to plan for your future. They don't want you to feel alone in that process, but with all of that mental clutter, it's just hard for them to reach you. And so, you know, I think also with the Six of Pentacles here, like if you're waiting for the circumstances to be perfect, if you're waiting for the exact perfect right time to do something, to act upon something, Spirit is saying that's just not going to happen. Like there's always going to be a reason to not do something. There's always going to be an excuse to keep yourself tied to your present circumstances. And with the Four of Cups that you got in your other side of this reading, clearly there's something that you're not wanting to settle for in your life. Clearly there's, you know, this push for you with that Ten of Cups. Like you're still yearning for that. You're still trying to reach for that. And so Spirit is saying you're right. You're right to have this yearning for something more. You're right to ask for something more. We do believe that you deserve more, yes. And we want to help you through that process, but you have to move. Like you have to take those steps, because you do have free will ultimately. Like we can try to push you in that direction. We can try to guide you in that direction, but you know, we can give you all the opportunities in the world, but if you never step towards that door, if you never, you know, turn the knob and you just stay where you're at, how will you ever know what's on the other side? And so with the Six of Pentacles, like, don't be so worried about having all your ducks in a row and having everything figured out and every little detail accounted for, because you know, life is full of unexpected like turns and challenges and even happy surprises. And so this idea that you're going to be able to plan for everything and safeguard everything just isn't going to happen anyway. So if there's something that you're wanting to do and you've been agonizing over it, I mean, the guidance here is just to make a decision one way or the other. Commit to something. And if you're going to commit to something, commit to what's going to bring you the most possible happiness, right? And so as best as you can, especially with this Two of Swords, I mean, you really have to trust your gut on this, trust your intuition on this, and that's really hard to do when, again, like your mind is cluttered, you know, with the anxious thoughts, the intrusive thoughts. So definitely anything that can relax you. If you can get out in nature, I think that would be so beneficial, especially if you can get to like a quiet place, you know, like if you have a nice park where there's not a lot of people, or maybe like a botanical garden, or if you're lucky enough to live by the beach or a body of water, just, you know, don't go to a place where there's going to be like a huge crowd of people. Be safe. I'm not saying go wander in a forest all by yourself. Definitely still be safe. But if you can get to a quiet place in nature where there's not going to be a lot of distractions or people trying to talk to you, I think that would be really helpful. I'm trying to think if there are any other messages coming through here. I think ultimately too, if what you're hesitating on here, if what has been causing you grief is something that is going to force you to maybe be on your own for a bit. And when I say on your own, I mean on your own in the physical world, because you're always supported with the divine. The divine is always walking with you, right? But in the physical world, if it requires you initially to be on your own, don't think you're always going to be on your own, because I do feel like Spirit is going to orchestrate it so that there are helping hands with the Six of Pentacles. There are going to be some helping hands. You are going to have that sense of support that you're, I think, really hoping and wishing for, whether that be from friends, family, a romantic partner, a community, your soul family. That support is going to be there, but those initial steps, yeah, you might have to take them in the physical world on your own. But don't just because you take the first step of the journey by yourself doesn't mean that the whole journey is going to be by yourself, okay? But again, the divine is always walking with you. Okay, let's get some self-care messages and a cat guardian card. And then I also pre-pulled a Thera-pets message for you because these are just so sweet. So we'll read that at the end. But let's get a cat guardian card for you. I love these cards. These are like very homemade, like from Etsy. I don't know. I just love that. Okay, group 1, cat guardian message. Adventurous Annie. Could that not be more appropriate with you getting, let me find it here, with you getting the Two of Wands in reverse? I mean, some of you guys are wanting to start out on like a whole new chapter, like you're wanting to change a lot about your life. There's going to be, I think, a significant ending, but it's not a tower moment. Like you have to make that decision. You have to take that step, you know? And I think Spirit is saying, you know, have some fun with this. Like, yes, it's terrifying. Yes, it's scary, but have some fun with it. Like, you know, lean into, instead of feeling anxious, maybe lean into nervous excitement, because it kind of feels like You know when you're waiting in line to ride a roller coaster and some people get really, really excited, some people are nervous and anxious, and then some people are totally fine up until the point that the ride starts, you know? And so I feel like, you know, you can be that anxious person, you can be freaking out, but at the end of the day, you're going to ride the same ride as the person who's excited to go on it. You know, like you're going to have, so it's kind of like, I guess, a feeling of like, you know, it is what you make of it. You know, like you're going to feel this, you know, this almost like frantic energy either way. I don't know how else to explain it. But, you know, the butterflies in the stomach, you know, you can interpret that as nervousness or you can interpret that as excitement. You know, like that jittery feeling in your body. I hope I'm describing this like appropriately, but you know, like first date jitters, you know what I mean? Like you can be a nervous wreck or you can flip that in your mind and say, no, this is excitement. And this is how we're gonna interpret this feeling in the body, and it is what it is. I've been getting into yoga here recently, and you know, so much about that is finding your breath. And so throughout all of this, if you can find your breath, if you can reconnect, ground yourself, that's going to be so helpful because, yeah, there is a lot going on. And you know, it's, I think, just asking you to lean into the adventure, lean into the mystery, lean into the unknown, and be okay with that. You know, that Fool card energy, because I think a lot of you are on the precipice here of a new chapter, a new start, and that's a big mystery. That's a big question mark, right? You can plan and plan and plan all day, but you can't plan for everything, right? Okay, let's get some self-care messages. We've already gotten some advice on that. I'll be curious to see what else you get, group one. Okay. And don't feel bad. I mean, when I did mine, it said essentially that I need to stop daydreaming. And I knew that. Like, I've been disassociating like quite a bit here lately. I've been daydreaming pretty badly. And I have a tendency to do that already. And I definitely feel like it's just good, I think, to get some guidance from Spirit. Here we go. I love this so much. Okay, your bottom of the deck is intuition, and we talked about that a lot. Getting in touch with your intuition, reconnecting with your body is going to help you do that, which I know kind of sounds maybe a bit opposite, like, oh, I'm supposed to tap into my third eye, but you're telling me to ground down. It's almost like that's the prep work to get you to that place. Like, you got to start fully from the bottom to work your way up. I don't know why that's how they're describing it to me today, but, you know, you got to get into almost like alignment, right? Now, with Look to the Stars here, I think if you're wanting to make certain changes, I think the moon cycles could definitely maybe give you that support that or give you that energetic boost that I think you've been craving, because I feel like a lot of you are feeling like you need the universe to co-sign this decision. Like you want to feel like you're making the right choices here. And so I think astrological transits, moon cycles, that could give you that support. You know, if you're trying to welcome in something new, if you're trying to end something, doing it with the, I guess like the energetic support of the moon cycle could be helpful. And then, you know, like how they say don't sign any contracts during Mercury retrograde or something like that. You know, that can make you feel better if like the current astrological transit is actually going to be supporting you, or if you're like, maybe I need to wait until this transit has passed. You know, that might help you figure out the timing of this. With Sing, I feel like this is just encouraging you to be carefree. to have some fun as best as you can. I think that's going to help you cope with that anxiety and fear and, again, those intrusive thoughts that you've been having. And with abundance planning, I feel like this is Spirit saying, like, you know, if you feel like you want to try your best to get your ducks in a row, we're not saying don't do that. You go ahead and plan if it makes you feel good, if it brings you comfort, do that. But understand that you can't stay in that. You know, like eventually you do have to move forward and you can't plan for everything. But we're not saying don't plan at all. We're just saying don't get stuck in the planning stage and never move forward out of that stage. You know, otherwise it just remains a dream, right? It just it remains a goal, and you have a perfect plan, or what you think of as a perfect plan, but if you don't put that plan into action, what good is it really? Okay. I think also with Look to the Stars, there's something here too. There's something here about surrendering to the divine and understanding that not all of it is within your control, and that's okay. And actually some things that you may interpret as something working against you is actually something that's helping you and is in your favor. It's just your perspective at that time is too limited, but hindsight is 20/20. And so like when you're looking back on this time period, you're actually going to say, oh wow, I see now how that was to my benefit, even though at the time it felt like the worst thing in the world or a setback, you know? Okay. We have trying your best is all that matters. The rest will fall into place. Literally, try your best and the rest will fall into place. Like, I love how that's mirroring your self-care cards there. But yeah, just try your best and everything else is what it is. I mean, practice acceptance as best as you can. But again, like just to bring it back full circle, you are 100% right in not settling and keeping your standards high and maintaining that dream, and you do deserve the 10 of Cups. And as long as you remember that, you're gonna be all right. All right, group 1, this was your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you in my next one. Please take care. Welcome to your reading. So today we're going to be finding out what you're doing right versus what you're doing wrong. Like I was telling group 1, this isn't coming from a place of judgment or anything like that. I actually did this reading for myself and it was super helpful, and so I thought, why not go ahead and do this for the channel? So I hope this is helpful for you as well. Okay, we're going to start off with what you're doing right. Group 2, please Spirit, what are they doing right currently in their life, group 2? And a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. So yeah, this isn't to say you haven't been doing any work or you haven't, you know, progressed in your self-development or anything like that. But growth is a lifelong process. So group 2, what are you doing right? So we're actually going to do all uprights for this portion of the reading. We've got the Page of Pentacles. That's a beautiful start. The 2 of Swords. And we have the 7 of Pentacles here. I will say the way the deck was behaving with your group versus group 1, your bottom of the deck here is the Moon. I think your enthusiasm, your optimism, your positivity is really helping out a lot, because there's something here where you're riding the waves of life, you know, like you're taking the good with the good and the bad with the bad, and you're not being deterred. That's not to say you don't have your bad days or you don't have days where, you know, you feel kind of down a little bit. It's not to say that, but overall, you're doing a really great job of maintaining hope, seeing the bigger picture, and not getting so bogged down in where you're at, because you know where you're at is not where you're going, and you know this is just a stepping stone along the way. I mean, you're growing leaps and bounds. Like from the Page of Pentacles to the 7 of Pentacles, you have put in the work, you have done something to where you started at the bottom, or maybe you're at the bottom still, but you understand like where you're headed, and you're going there really quickly because of this positive attitude. I mean, you're just literally leaping here with this 2 of Swords from this page to the 7, and the 7 is also about patience. So it's like even when you reach a certain level of success, you're not like, okay, this is good enough. You're like, no, I'm going to keep pushing. And, you know, with the Moon here, it's like, I don't know for certain if it's all going to work out. I don't know for certain if I'm going to reach that pinnacle of success. But you know what? I'm going to die trying. Like, it's like that for you. Like, there is something that you are so dedicated to, something that you believe in so strongly, and you're like, I'm going to get there. Even if it kills me, like one way or another, it's gonna happen. Like, this is my passion, this is what I love, this is what I believe in, I'm going after it. And it doesn't just have to be career. Like, this can be talking about your love life, this could be talking about a desire to be a parent, this can talk about wanting to move somewhere. It's just like, I know this is where I belong, I know that this is what is meant for me. You know, some people are really lost in life, and they don't know what's going to bring them happiness. They don't know what's going to bring them emotional fulfillment. They don't know what their soul's calling is, but you do. And like, knowing yourself, I mean, that is a major key. It's a major key to life, you know, like that is going to set you up for so much success and abundance. And again, like that emotional fulfillment. And you know, here's the thing, group 2, you never make yourself small. You never make yourself small. And I think part of that isn't, you know, it's not about ego. It's not about ego, because I do feel like you have a real humility to you because of your work ethic and your drive and your commitment to this thing. But really, it's, how do I put it? You don't make yourself small, but you are so led by faith that you feel like you can do this, because it's almost like, you know, the Red Bull commercials where it's like, Red Bull, it gives you wings. Like, it's kind of like that. Like, your optimism, your sort of blind faith that this is going to happen for you with the Moon. The Moon talks about faith. So like your blind kind of optimism towards this, that this is what is meant for me, your certainty about that doesn't come from a place of ego. It comes from your faith. And it's like the universe is giving you wings here. Like, you're being bolstered by your faith in the divine and this idea that this is your soul's calling, this is what is meant for you, this is the role that you're meant to play in life. And so that's why you're able to move towards that ultimate goal, that ultimate vision with so much grace and ease. Even if it's, you know, even if it's on the day-to-day, like difficult, I think compared to the average person, you're able to get where you're meant to be going because of that faith, because of that optimism, not because of ego. Even though maybe to other people you seem like really overly confident, and other people may try to talk you out of it, like, oh, what's your backup plan? And you're like, I don't need one. And people may think or interpret that as arrogance, but I feel like Spirit is saying, don't listen to them. Because you are right on the money. Yes, like this is, you got it, 100%. Like you are not wrong for thinking that this is your soul's calling, because it is. You are meant to have this thing. You are meant to fulfill this role. You are meant to be in that place. Keep going. Keep going. Because you are right. Okay, what are you doing wrong? What? We'll say that in a nicer way. Your area for growth, group 2. Now, for this part of the reading, I will take reversals. Group 2, what can you work on, please, Spirit? Group 2, a big thank you again to my guides and your guides. Okay, group 2. We've got the Empress, the 5 of Swords, the 3 of Pentacles. I do want to clarify this 5 of Swords. The Hanged Fae. Okay. In your bottom of the deck is the Lovers. It's interesting here because I do feel like a part of this also, like on your journey towards this thing, right? And it's going to be different for all of you. But on your journey towards this thing, I feel like because you've been doing so much of this on your own, that when assistance comes, like when help comes, I feel like you really, really struggle with that. Like, I'm hearing Kelly Clarkson's Miss Independent. You know, it's just this feeling of, I got this, I got this, I got this. But just because you can handle things on your own doesn't mean that you necessarily should. You know, I feel like because you're so, like, almost like, I'm sorry, I just like did a weird smacking noise. Because you're so one-tracked minded. Like you are so laser focused. It's like you have tunnel vision here. And sometimes it's almost like Spirit wants to take you on this like little detour, but you're so laser focused. And I feel like Spirit is saying like, yes, this is important, but it's not your whole life. This is just one thing that you're meant to do, or one place where you're meant to go. But it's not everything, or this is one role you're meant to fulfill, but it's not everything. And sometimes I feel like you can neglect other aspects of your life, or you can even ignore like divine support. And so it's just a little bit of a change in perspective here. Like you don't always have to prove yourself. You don't always have to be so strong. You don't always have to do it all on your own. It's okay to just receive help. It's okay to just be given things. You don't always have to work or show that you're deserving of things. It's okay to just receive. It's okay to receive blessings. It's okay to have support and help, and it doesn't make you weak. And you don't always, you don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to prove that you're the best at this or that you're meant for this. Like, it's already yours. You may not have like fully achieved it yet, but it's already yours. It's just on a different timeline. It's all happening at once, even if it doesn't feel like it. I mean, with this 3 of Pentacles, I mean, you can see here like the butterfly trying to help her out here, but it's like you got to put down your work for a minute to receive this, right? And so I think sometimes, and I would imagine maybe it's your love life that gets neglected, or even just this idea of like having a partner might make you a little bit, you know, maybe just a little bit anxious or worried that your freedom's going to be compromised in some way, or worried that you're going to get sidetracked or distracted. I mean, a very obvious like example that comes to mind is like maybe, because I think it's really hard for women especially, like if you have all of these like career ambitions, but then you fall in love and then you're worried that if you get pregnant, that's going to probably affect like your ability to work, and even after like your baby is born, like are you going to be able to put so much effort and focus into your career objective if now you're a mother too? Like, is that going to distract? Is that going to put you behind on your plan? And you know, how is that going to affect things? And it feels like a sacrifice, right? And I feel like Spirit is saying like there just has to be a greater perspective here. Like there has to be more balance, because they keep showing me over and over again like this point of light at the end of the tunnel, and it's like they want you to shine the light on the entire tunnel. Like they want to get you out of the tunnel. Like they just want to broaden your perspective here and shine light on some areas of your life that have been neglected. And I feel like Spirit is saying like you feel like it's a choice with the Lovers, like you feel like you have to choose, but it's not a choice. Like you don't have to give up one thing for the other. Like you can in a sense have it all. It just may not look the way that you are expecting it to look. There may be some adjustments that have to happen. You may have to actually ask for help and get help from other people. You may actually have to depend upon other people. And Spirit is saying that's okay. Even if it's divine support, it's okay. It's okay to get help. And yeah, it doesn't have to be a sacrifice. It's just, you know, if you're trying to do everything on your own, of course you're not going to feel like you can give so much attention or effort to other areas of your life. But if you ask for help and you accept that as human beings we're dependent upon other people to a certain degree, then yeah, like you might actually be able to have more or do more than you initially thought because you have help, right? Like the efforts of 5 people can create a lot more than just one person working on their own, right? And so it's about having the right connections in your life too. Okay. Let's move on now. We're gonna get, whoops, I'm just like throwing cards everywhere. We're gonna get some self-care messages, and then we'll also get some cat guardian cards, and then I have pre-pulled a Thera-pets message for you because these are just really sweet and supportive and very loving. So let's start off with a cat guardian message. Group 2, what do they need to hear? Group 2. Group 2, please, Spirit. Focus vanilla. You can't make this up. Like you cannot. Like we were just talking about you needing to get out of the tunnel, you having that laser focus, you needing to broaden your perspective, address other aspects of your life, other areas of your life, and not be so single-minded, right? Here we go. And it could be a matter of the heart that needs attending to with the green here. It could be a matter of the heart. Maybe not for all of you, but it could be. I feel like Spirit is saying, like, you have this idea, maybe, that if you were here, you would be happy. You know, whether that's a physical place, whether that is a certain level of material success, whether that's you being married or you being in a relationship with your soulmate. Like, all of you want different things, right? Whatever it is for you, you may have tricked yourself into thinking, like, if I just had that, if I was just at that level, I would be happy. And life just doesn't work like that. You know, if that were true, then, I mean, we really wouldn't need therapists, would we? Like, okay, for your self-care messages, one of them's a little bit salacious here. So, physical intimacy could be a good self-care thing for you to do. I keep the channel pretty PG, so I'm not going to go into that, but anyway, to keep YouTube happy, I'm going to leave that card flipped over. We also have sync with the moon, and so I think being aware of the moon cycles here could be really helpful, but also getting in your divine feminine energy, because we did have the Empress card earlier. So your gender here really doesn't matter, but getting in tune with the divine feminine. So I think connecting with Mother Gaia, being outside in nature more as best as you can, paying attention to the moon cycles, as we mentioned. I'm hearing working with crystals could be helpful. Physical self-care, I feel like is going to be really good for you. That's not to say other forms of self-care aren't important. I'm just hearing for you specifically, group 2, physical self-care. So, you know, maybe make yourself a fancy bath, do a hair mask, face mask, like whatever, deep condition your hair, whatever you want to do. But something, maybe revamp your skincare routine, but something about your physical self-care I think is going to be really helpful for you. We have meditate here. Again, I think meditating out in nature. You need to be more receptive. You need to be more receptive, because I think that there is, energy work. So you can do some breath work as well. Yoga, meditation. I think coming back to a spiritual practice, prayer could be helpful. Bottom of the deck here we have connect with your ancestors. I really feel like more receptivity, being in a more divine feminine energy. That's really going to be, I think, the most helpful thing here, because I think there's a need to slow down. There's a need here to center yourself. There's a need here for you to remind yourself that you are worth the time and the energy and the effort to take care of. You are worth the time. I just keep hearing that over and over again, like you're worth the time. Like, don't rush through it. Don't just throw it at the bottom of your to-do list. Like, really take the time to just nurture yourself, care for yourself. I mean, even if it's just like making yourself a really good smoothie, you know, like making yourself a really healthy snack and saying, this is me, like expressing my love for myself, or, you know, just a simple thing, but just reminding yourself that you're worth taking care of. Your health and wellness is worth the time and effort. Because I feel like for some of you, like you're just so busy. And so I'm feeling a need here for relaxation, you know, like a need for luxury, a need for a sense of like peacefulness. And I think you deserve to feel beautiful and attractive. And I think for some of you, you just haven't really felt that way in a minute. And that may not be for all of you, but I feel like for some of you, you kind of need to reconnect with that energy and just feel beautiful, feel desirable, feel good about yourself. Because there's something there about like your physical body and needing to show your physical body that it deserves love and time and attention, you know? Because I would imagine that if you're hard at work on something, that it would be easy to neglect your health and that kind of thing, or you might feel a bit run down, a bit ragged. So yeah, I feel like maybe that's why those messages are coming through. Okay, let's see your Thera-pets message. We have, look at everything you have survived so far. You weren't defeated then, and you won't be defeated now. I mean, yeah, like you went from the Page of Pentacles to the Seven of Pentacles. Like you have come far as it stands now. So recognize that, celebrate that, celebrate every little step of success along the way to wherever that ultimate vision for yourself is, because you will get there. And I feel like, you know, even if you do eventually need help, you do need more support, it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't make you any less strong. In fact, it makes you even stronger to be able to accept help and to know when to ask for it too. But you'll get through this, group 2. All right, so I hope this reading was helpful. Let me know down in the comments if you like this kind of like fast little style of reading. And yeah, I will see you in my next one. Best of luck to you in all your endeavors, group 2, and please take care of yourself. Last but not least, welcome to your reading. So I'm having to charge my phone, so if the camera shakes a little bit, I'm sorry about that. Okay, group 3, what are you doing right versus what are you doing wrong? As I was telling the other 2 groups, it's not from a place of judgment or anything like that, or not to say you haven't been working on yourself or you know, whatever. It's just meant to be helpful. I did this reading for myself and loved it and thought, why not go ahead and do it for the channel? So a big thank you to my guides and your guides for coordinating these messages. Group 3, for this first part of the reading, we're not going to do reversals. We're going to take all uprights here. So we're going to start off with what you're doing right. Group 3, what do we need to know? What is group 3 doing right in their life currently? We have the Queen of Swords. She's one of my faves. Nobody messes with the Queen of Swords. We have the Death card here. Okay. And we have the Nine of Cups. This is powerful energy here. Your bottom of the deck here is the Three of Cups. Yeah, this is... I love this for you. Group 3. Okay. What you're doing right now is you are 100% doing a great job of setting the intentions in your life to call in what you do want, because I feel like for you, group 3, you have encountered a lot of probably karmic connections. You probably have encountered a lot of contrast in your life of what you don't want, whether it's in your love life, your career, your social life with friends, doesn't matter, even just personal endeavors and goals that you've had. You've encountered a lot of situations where you're like, this isn't for me. And I feel like now you're like, you know what? I know exactly what I want. I'm cutting through all the BS. I'm understanding I have so much more power than I ever thought that I did. I'm living in my truth, and there's a feeling here of just being like, you know what? I know exactly what I want, and the past isn't going to dictate my future. The past is not going to repeat itself. You know, it's like, thank you, next. Like, I've learned my lessons and I'm good. And I'm not going to fall back. Like, I'm understanding it's really like stepping into your own power and understanding that you have more control than you thought that you did, because I think maybe in the past you probably felt maybe just a little bit like a victim, like, why is this happening to me? Like, why am I being punished? Like, how can I get out of this cycle? Why do I keep having so many rough cycles like this? Like, when is this going to end? And now it's like going from that mindset of just feeling almost like attacked to now feeling like I'm the hero of this story. I'm the hero and I don't need to be saved. And yes, I'm quoting Regina Spektor right now, but that's the vibe. Like, I got this. You know, and so it's like being the hero of your own story and saying, you know what, there's a reason why I have this wish and it's meant for me and I'm going to get it. And so whatever changes, whatever transitions, whatever needs to happen, you just surrender to it. You're like, I will be like rebirthed as many times as it takes. I will start all over from scratch as many times as it takes because I deserve this 9 of Cups. And that's what it is. And so I feel like, you know, you've grown so much. And I think that out of all the groups today, you have invested the most in yourself and it shows. Like, you are someone who has really, really, really done the work. And please don't laugh, but I'm being shown like, you know how like the Pokemon, how they have like the different like levels and they like, oh God, what's it called when they transform? That's what they're showing me. So from like a little baby Pikachu, I don't know. I guess I should have picked one that I know. From like Charmander to like, was it Charizard? Like you've really grown. And, you know, it's like you've always had this potential. And Spirit has always seen that potential within you. And to see you grow so much, to see you come out of these like difficult cycles wiser with the Queen of Swords rather than bitter is an accomplishment within itself. And so I feel like Spirit is saying, slow clap for yourself right now. You know, like really take some time to celebrate who you are because, you know, you're not meek anymore. You're not timid. You're not shy about what you want and what you deserve. And with the Queen of Swords, like you have everything within you. Like you are exactly primed for this wish fulfillment. 100%, because this version of you, this more developed version of you, and your gender doesn't matter with the Queen of Swords. I always have to give that disclaimer, but this version of you is the version of you that can handle this 9 of Cups. So let's say, for example, you have always wanted to be, I don't know, like, let's pick something ridiculous. You've always wanted to be a Grammy award-winning artist, but younger you had terrible stage fright, was afraid of public speaking, was painfully shy, very reserved, and could not take criticism. Even if, like, a major record label gave you a deal and said, here, sign, we're going to make this happen for you, like that version of you, that younger version of you, would not have been able to receive that blessing and make something of it. Like, even if it was handed to you on a silver platter, just fell into your lap, you wouldn't have known what to do with it back then. Whereas now, you're ready. And we can even apply this, and I know that's a ridiculous example, but we can even apply this to like your love life, right? Like, even if the perfect person, your true love, walked through the door 5 years ago, you wouldn't have been ready. Whatever it was that you needed to heal, whatever it was that you needed to work through, maybe like self-limiting beliefs, some insecurities, past trauma, trust issues, whatever it was, you wouldn't have been ready. Whereas now you are ready. And Spirit really wants to recognize, I feel like, all the work you've done, because you've healed a lot, you've grown up a lot, and yeah, I think you really found your voice too. That's a big thing I'm hearing. You found your voice. All right. Maybe that's why I was drawn to this singing example. Okay. Group 3, what you doing wrong? Let's find out. Your area for growth. What can you work on? What can you improve upon? How can you make your life better? Group 3. And we will take reversals for this section. Okay. Group 3. We've got the 7 of Pentacles. We've got the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. We have the High Priestess. Okay. Bottom of the deck here, we have the 6 of Swords. Ooh. I think I know what's up. Okay, for some of you, and this may not be for all of you, you need to leave something. In order to get that 9 of Cups, in order to get that wish fulfillment, you need to cut something out of your life. With the Death card, there's an ending, right? You need to cut something out of your life. You need to physically move. So whether that's like leaving a job, leaving a relationship, moving house, you need to do something. Something in relation to like your material world needs to change. With the 6 of Swords, you have everything within you, all the tools that you need. You are capable of doing this. And once you do it, you will get that 9 of Cups because it's what you deserve. But you have to let go first of what you have outgrown, because you have outgrown it. With the Death card, you have outgrown it. And some of you are hesitating on that. And I think with the 7 of Pentacles here and the Queen of Pentacles being in reverse, the High Priestess, it's like intuitively you know this. I'm not telling you. I don't think anything you don't already know. You already know this. But there's a shadow of the past I'm hearing. There's a scarcity mindset here. This feeling of I'm not good enough, or this feeling of what if there's not enough? What if it's not my time? And so because of that, it's like, I know I need to do this, but let me just wait. The 7 of Pentacles, let me just wait. If I just save up just a little bit more money here, if I time it just right, if I hold back just a little bit, but it's like you can stay in this holding pattern forever. And, you know, you have the ability to turn her upright. It's like you've mastered that Queen of Swords. Now it's time to master the Queen of Pentacles. This is the energy here that needs to be mastered. And you have it within you. And so if you think about it, your gender doesn't matter here, but like the Empress is the queen of all queens, right? The Emperor is the king of all kings. And so it's like if you're going through life and you're mastering these different energies, and so we know from this reading you've already mastered the Queen of Swords. Now you need to master the Queen of Pentacles. So you need to get your material abundance together. Something in your material world needs to change, right? Something in your physical day-to-day life, it's got to change. You are, or you have the ability now, or you should understand this, that one day you will be that Empress, or one day you will be that Emperor. You will get there. You have the ability to master every suit. You can do it. But I think, you know, the Queen of Swords is getting you to a place to where you're living in your truth. You're seeing what is meant for you, what isn't meant for you. You're feeling more empowered. You're feeling like you can take back control, right? But with I think where the disconnect is happening is like you have all of this now, like confidence and belief within yourself, and this ability to advocate for yourself and stand up for yourself, and like you see all that. So like you have your self-worth, right? But then I think internally you're feeling good, but it's like externally things aren't matching up. So that's that feeling of like, I've outgrown my present circumstances. And so Spirit is saying, like, all of that internal, like, work that you've done, it's time for that to be reflected in the external world. But you have to make those changes. You have to bet on yourself. You have to take all of that inner work that you've done and now have it show up in your external environment. And to do that, you have to clear space. You have to make room for new stuff to come in. It's just like gardening. Sorry, I stumbled over my words. It's like gardening. And I don't know a lot about having a garden, but I do know you have to prune stuff away for new growth to come in. You have to clear out the weeds, right? And so it's not you, you're not the problem, it's, you know, the soil, the environment. So we've got to change this. And so I feel like if you can understand that, and again, I really feel like I'm not telling you anything that you don't already know. I feel like you already got that. But I think it's also believing that you can, because it's almost like there's you and then there's your shadow self. And who's going to win out on this? I kind of actually want to get a little bit more, some additional cards for you. The Star here, and the Star was in reverse. Yeah, because I feel like you're thinking this is going to take more time than it actually is. Yeah, the Eight of Swords. It's you holding yourself back. You know, it's so funny because on one hand, like, you're in this like super empowered energy, but on the other hand, it's like you're holding yourself back from showing that side of you to the world. It's like you've done all this work, but you're still hiding in the shadows. Why? Like, you were meant to stand out, the Star. Like, you were meant to be seen. You weren't meant to have this like invisible life. You know what, for some of you, this could be that you've worked really hard on something, but you're not ready to show it yet. So maybe some of you are like sitting on a manuscript, you know, or you're sitting on a song that you made. You're sitting on a business idea, but you're not acting upon it. Yeah, there's some sort of desire or wish, but you're not acting upon it. Like, you've done the work, or you've done the research for something. Like, you could have planned an entire move, done all the legwork, all the grunt work, but it's like that final push, and you're not doing it. You're not acting upon it. Some of you, again, like, you're just telling yourself it's not the right time. But it has nothing to do with timing. It has everything to do with your shadow kind of coming up, and I don't know, there's just a fear there. Or this feeling of not wanting to be seen. And I would imagine that comes from being hurt so much. And the Queen of Swords is quite protective and she's very guarded. And so maybe that's it too, this fear of like vulnerability, this fear of being seen. But you have like this incredible star power. Yeah. But it's like this feeling of like wanting to protect yourself and not wanting to, yeah, just not wanting to be seen. And that could be by the public. It could be by, you know, potential like new connections. It could be in your love life. Just not wanting to be seen. The Eight of Cups is in reverse though. You have everything within you to walk away, to cut that thing out of your life. But for whatever reason, you're not doing it. But you know that you need to. Stop tricking yourself into thinking it's not the right time. Don't trick yourself into that. Don't fall into that trap. It's not a matter of timing. It's a matter of, do you have what it takes? And with the Queen of Swords, yes, you do. You've done all of this hard work on yourself, but it's like you're not acknowledging that, you're not giving yourself credit for it, or you're not understanding how that can be translated, like those skills, those lessons you have learned, that self-development, you're not seeing how that can be translated into real world, tangible abundance and success. The Nine of Cups, that wish fulfillment. Sorry, Gracie just jumped up on the table, so you might have heard like a weird noise. Okay. I'll be honest, like this was a little bit of a harder message to grasp a little bit, which is why I had to get these extra cards. But I think it's because it's such a paradox. Like to go through all of this self-development and still feel like it's like you don't know what to make of it. It's like because I do feel like you recognize that you're different. You recognize that you've improved a lot compared to your younger self. But it's like being gifted all of these tools and then just not knowing what to do with them. And I think that's kind of the weird part of it. It's not like you're oblivious to all of the healing that you've done, but it's like, okay, well, I've improved myself, but my life still sucks, so, you know what I that's kind of like what it is. Let's move these out of the way now, and then we'll get a cat guardian message. We're gonna end your reading here with a Thera-pets card because these are just so nice and supportive, but first we'll get a cat guardians card and then we'll get some self-care messages. Okay, group 3, what do you need to hear right now from the cat guardians? These cards have been on point so far, so I'm kind of curious to see what you get, group 3. And I wonder if we'll get an additional message for you. Yep. Okay. We have present Phoebe and we have connected Connie. So I think this present card here is telling you to really, 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 as best as you can, focus on the present moment. Don't let the shadow of the past creep back in, but don't also let the fear and anxiety of the future take you out of your present joy. So stay connected to the present moment, enjoy where you're at, and understand that where you're at right now isn't where you're always going to be. And so with the connected card, stay connected to yourself, stay connected to that Nine of Cups vision for yourself, stay connected to the divine, to source energy, stay connected to your hope, your optimism, your faith, and be present in your life. Don't wish away your life. Don't daydream away your life. When I did this reading for myself, that's the message that I got, was that I was daydreaming too much. So maybe for some of you, you're doing a little bit of that. Don't go back to the past because there's really not much there for you. Like what you needed to learn, you have mastered, and there's not much of a benefit at this point in time for you to continue to look back. There's a benefit sometimes to looking back, right? That's how we learn. But you've already done that. It doesn't serve you anymore at this present point in time to look back. And so stay connected to the present moment as best as you can. And in that grounded space, you can tap into that Queen of Pentacles energy because that's what's really going to help you. I'm sorry, Gracie saw a cat outside and she just flipped out. It's the orange fluffy stray cat though. Thankfully, it's learned to ignore her. Like it's figured out it can't get to her, so he's pretty unbothered. He just eats the food I leave out for him, and she attacks the window. He could care less. So, anyway, okay. If he shows up in your reading, that's a sign of good luck. So, group 3, all hope is not lost, okay? Things are going to get better for you. Okay. Sorry about the noise. I know that was probably really loud. All right, let's get some self-care messages. And Gracie knows, like, the window is there, but she still, like, throws her body up against it like she's actually gonna break the glass. Like, I mean, she keeps trying. I'll give her that. All right, we have drink tea. Okay, why is everyone getting spicy messages today? Group 2 got the physical intimacy card, we'll call it that. You got the self-pleasure card. I'm gonna leave that turned over. I think you can figure out what I mean when I say self-pleasure, but that's what you got. Oh my gosh, okay. Put in the comments what your favorite tea is if you drink tea. I'm curious. Earl Grey is my favorite, but because of the caffeine, I never drink it. We have Sweet Treat. Love that for you. We'll get one more. And we've got chanting here. So chanting, and you know, if you're not into that, just saying positive affirmations could also be helpful. It's kind of funny, you got the use your hands card and the and the self-pleasure card. I'm just gonna say that. But yeah, doing like coloring, arts and crafts, do a puzzle, whatever. That could be helpful. So do something creative. That also works really well with Sweet Treat, right? So you can bake yourself something, you know, some cookies, cupcakes, whatever you like. And let's look at your, I feel like these don't really need a lot of explanation. I feel like for you, it's just really doing things that require you to be actively focused on the present moment and not somewhere else. So if you're baking something, you have to be pretty present, right? Like you don't want to burn the cake or, you know, mess up and put sugar where you should have put flour. I don't know how you would make that mistake, but whatever. So anyway, I think you get what I'm saying. So anything that will help you stay presently focused is going to be helpful. Where did I put? Oh, here it is. Okay. So your last message, we have stay soft. The world may be cold, but we don't have to be. That's, okay, my Queen of Swords people. Like, that's the thing with the Queen of Swords is like, yeah, she's a bad you-know-what. She's a bad witch. But at the end of the day, even the Queen of Swords still has to retain some softness, right? And so while it's good to be like empowered like that, there's also strength in your softness. And so, you know, don't lose that emotional vulnerability. You know, regardless of whatever is happening in your external environment or in the external world, that doesn't have to dictate how you feel, and especially how you feel about yourself. Okay. Group 3, this was your reading. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you had a good time. Thank you for sharing your energy with me, and I will see you in my next one. Best of luck to you, and